What is up, American Horror Story fans? We are back with Season 7 Cult. We are talking about Episode 1, Election Night. I can't think of anything scarier. Stay tuned.
You're tuning into the destination for TV superfan discussion, AfterBuzz TV. And now, let the buzz begin.
Hey there, AfterBuzzers. Love this music. It just gets you that creepy mood.
It's so great to put you to sleep.
Hello, American Horror Story fans. We are back. We're talking about Season 7 Cult. Kicking it off with the premiere episode, Election Night. I'm your host, Alana Jordan. I'm back again, yay! And you can find me on Twitter at Alana Jordan and on Instagram at That Alana Jordan Girl. Kelly McInerney, who was here last season, is also going to be joining us. She just wasn't here tonight. She's busy doing all of her comedy stuff. But you can find her at Holly Weirdo. And in her place, we're very excited to have Ollie here.
Hi guys, my name is Oliver Drennan. Follow me on all social media platforms at Ollie Dreamer, or in this case, I think I should go by Ollie Screamer. You know?
Ooh, digging it. And our two new panelists that we're gonna have
Hey,
all
guys.
season long.
So excited to be on this panel this season. My name is Ashley Allen. You can find me on all social media at Ashley Reed Allen.
Hey guys, I'm Sanders Kennedy. You can follow me on Instagram, Twitter, and YouTube at Just Sans World.
Nice. So, gotta ask, just initial reactions. What are you guys feeling this season?
It's gonna be a lot of pissed off people this season, I
Oh yeah?
think. Yeah.
I like it already. It's a few things in there that scare me, so I'm like, okay. A little bit
Yeah.
afraid. This is like the first I'm actually afraid.
Yeah, they're picking out a lot of phobias this season, and poor Sarah Paulson. She
Oh
can't.
my
yeah.
gosh, she has every single one of them.
She's
it
always
seems.
suffering.
Yeah.
Single season.
That paycheck better be good.
This season seems very like Purge-esque.
Yeah.
That's what I thought.
Yeah.
Yes.
Oh my
It
gosh.
just seems almost
I
like
think we
if
clicks
Ryan
with
Murphy
all of
was
us.
like, hey,
He watched the Purge election. Probably.
Definitely.
Yes!
It's
Yes.
like, let me do this and let me show you actual footage, which is just as terrifying.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Because I feel
100%.
like I also had the exact same response that Allie had during the election. And
Oh, yes.
I think most people did. So
I'm still having it.
Had a couple drinks after that. Yeah.
Definitely.
After that.
yeah, man, this was just, I mean, they dove into it. I love that Ryan Murphy is like, look, we're pulling no punches. These are a direct parallel.
Yes.
We're showing actual election footage. We're starting it with
Yes.
Trump announcing his presidency, and then our first title card, November 8th, 2016.
Yeah.
Boom.
I like that they didn't waste
Begins.
any time. Like, we jumped right
Yes.
into
Yeah.
it. And I think that's how it should have been.
And and I like how, because, you know, in seasons past, especially like last season, we had Roanoke, there was all this secrecy and like, what's it going to be
Yeah.
about? And this one is very much like, it's about the election and the parallels and the manifestation of the fears that we all have because of it.
Yeah.
So I'm
Yeah.
like, okay, Ryan, I see you. But I'm really excited too that they brought back like Sarah Paulson, Evan
Yeah,
Peters
absolutely.
is back, Billie Lourd is here from
my gosh.
Scream Queens, Colton Haynes from Scream
Oh,
Queens.
Colton Hayes,
Yeah.
yes.
I was like, oh, they're bringing back everybody.
Cheyenne
I guess this-
Jackson.
Oh, yes.
Cheyenne Jackson. And you know what I thought was really cool was that Alison Pill, who's brought back, who plays Ivy, was famously in Newsroom, where they had the big speech, the now iconic "Why America is no longer the greatest country in the world" speech.
Right.
And I feel like that was Ryan Murphy very deliberately being like, don't forget, these are all real world parallels. And remember
Yeah.
the other fictional things that were relevant still are.
The part that stuck out to me
So-
is that Chaz Bono is on the show.
Yes.
I love that.
And he's playing a Trump supporter.
I know.
Yeah.
I was like, okay, let's go there.
My jaw dropped. I remember.
Me
when we
too.
were
I
watching
wasn't
it.
ready.
I feel like there's a lot of moments that they do in this show and just kicking it off. Like this first episode, it's like so many jaw drop moments. Like,
Yeah.
100%.
especially now seeing everything, we know that we're going to be kind of following Sarah Paulson's character and seeing her hallucinations and what's real and what isn't. But how they always have our little Easter eggs, our throwback to previous seasons. This
Oh,
one, as we're
yes.
kicking it off, our first horror moment is the introduction of Twisty.
Yep.
Twisty the
Which
Clown.
this one they were like, again, not pulling any punches. We're showing you straight off the bat. Like, here's
Because that
the
was a
story
huge
of Twisty.
question. Like, are we going to see Twisty? And they're like, maybe you got to watch. And like, after 5 minutes, we get the answer.
Yeah, it's like, boom, yes, you're going to see Twisty, and
Yes.
Twisty's going to be in it a lot. So,
Yeah, homie, don't play that.
Exactly.
and we see that Twisty, too, just like getting shot repeatedly. It's like, oh,
I know.
great,
Yeah.
awesome.
Like, are you Jason
awesome.
Voorhees now?
I feel like that's what it is. It's like, this is a fear that will not die. And
Yeah.
you're like,
Yeah.
oh, God, okay, so there's immortal evil clowns now.
Oh,
That's
yeah.
awesome. But that bus scene, ripping that poor girl out of the abandoned bus, I was like, American Horror Story, you're just showing off your production design from the beginning.
Right.
Yeah.
It was just cool that that transitioned into like the comic that Oz was reading, and then his mom sees it, Sarah Paulson, who plays Allie, and then we find out she has a clown phobia. Is
Yeah.
that what
Clown phobia,
Clown
yeah.
phobia. Is there a right term? There's just
There's a technical
There's a
term
technical
that I'm going to
term
not
for it,
pronounce
which
it
we should
correctly.
know.
And if I
Clownphobia.
say it incorrectly, and I love that they do also just the commercial for baskets. That they just have too. They're like, I had a clown phobia, but now my son. I was like, look at you. You were clever, Baskets marketing team.
But not only is she afraid of clowns, but she's afraid of holes. She's afraid of a lot of things
She's
that
afraid
will
of-
trigger her.
It's like she's afraid of everything.
And
Yeah, she's
yeah.
afraid of the coral reef.
Yeah.
They do a really good job, of explaining too, of having that therapist scene where we get exposition, but it doesn't seem like it's over the top, like it's believable. So
Yes.
they do a really good job of taking these things, and while they kind of, hit the nail on the head, they don't go over the top where it becomes cheesy. So
Right.
I'm hoping it stays that way this one.
yes.
And of course, her performance is top notch. She does a great job at
Yes,
showing
absolutely.
that fear and that phobia. So round of applause to her.
She can cry on
100%.
cue. Like,
Yes.
oh my goodness,
Yes.
girl. I just my
100%.
only critique is that I don't want her to suffer like in each and every single season.
Right.
She does an amazing, outstanding job, but it's like, dang, I need like a comparison, like a meme of like all her frightened, screaming faces. Like just season 1, season 2. The only season
And then
is
it just ends with her two heads when both of them are upset, and you're like, God, all right.
absolutely.
Yes.
But I love too seeing the juxtaposition that they have of Kai, played by Evan Peters,
Right.
Oh my
of him
gosh.
seeing the election results and chanting "The revolution has come, USA." The just intercut with her wailing, and then not seeing how they're tied together, except for Tom and
We
Marilyn.
just see both ends, and we're going to try to figure out how they connect.
Yeah. Which, I mean, I'm thinking already, because we're seeing Kai and his pinky promise with Billie Lourd's character
Yeah.
Winter.
Yes.
And are they siblings, you think?
I think they're friends.
I can't tell.
I looked on IMDb, and their characters have the same last name.
They do.
Oh.
They do. I
I was
noticed
like,
that.
I don't think they're married, but I predicting that they're siblings.
I
Kai
figured maybe
Anderson
they were
and Winter
siblings.
They're related.
I thought maybe either siblings or like twins or
Yeah.
something, because they seem to have like
Yeah.
a weird type of
Yeah.
connection that may not be normal, like just a regular brother and sister. So maybe
mean-
they're like twins or something.
I think I think that's a good idea.
Yeah,
right
they
there.
seem
I think you're
oddly
right.
close.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
creepily close. Like,
Yeah.
this is creepy. This relationship, I'm not here for it.
Well, she's terrified
Yes,
of him.
and that I feel like their relationship represents, like the patriarch, man's control over a woman,
Yeah,
especially in
okay.
this,
Oh, definitely.
especially in the election, and possibly, women who supported Trump, and
Right.
voted for him. So that's what.
Well, we
I
see
take-
that she's super upset that Trump wins, and then he
Yeah.
comes to rub it in with his Cheeto paste. And you're like, all right.
Oh gosh.
That one I love because that's one that could have gone either way. Like, it could have been done really badly, and you're just like, get out of here. But
Yeah.
they actually did you are sucked into that moment, and you're like, all right,
Yeah.
like, this could be really hokey, but you pulled it off.
Yeah.
It did not make me want Cheeto Puffs, though. I was like, I'm never eating Cheeto Puffs ever again.
I feel like I've not craved Cheetos since November. I'm just like, ugh,
Yeah.
done. Every time I see one, I'm like,
Oh, yes.
but having that connection of him having that, we see him presenting to Tom, who we see is, some sort of position of power, mayoral,
Authority.
leading this kind of town hall, and Kai's the only person to come and talk, and he's saying there's nothing more dangerous in this world than a humiliated man.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
After he does his whole speech about why they should not have any security at the community center, they should just let chaos reign.
Which I think what had all of us think of The Purge.
Yeah.
That's exactly where my brain was going. Is I was just waiting for him to have like the X'd out
Yeah.
mask and like,
Oh,
all right.
I remember when we were watching it together, all of us wrote down that quote or something. We were
Yeah,
just like,
we all wrote it down.
And I remember I felt chills when he said that because
Yeah.
that is so true. I mean, think of this is tragic, like school shootings or people who
Yeah.
bring guns to school
Yeah.
because they're often like maybe bullied.
Yeah.
Bring a knife, anything. It's scary. It's so like humans to me are like the scariest creatures, more scary than any
100%.
monster. And I think
Yeah.
that's what this season's focusing on: humans as being like the scariest monster.
Yeah,
Yeah.
about the people who are wearing masks that now,
Have taken them off.
yeah,
Because of
which
who
is
our leader
even
is.
more terrifying. It's
Yeah.
you
Oh,
have
yeah.
these real life parallels where people are like, oh, there's no consequences now, and you're like,
We can do whatever we want.
Yeah.
no, no, that's not the case.
Yeah, I mean, when you have someone in the place of power like we have now, Mr. Trump. I'm not going to call him President Trump.
No,
Mr.
I
Trump.
won't. I wouldn't even say Mister.
I'll just say him.
Yeah,
That.
and like
It-
Cheeto.
Oh, that. Well, yeah, when we have somebody like him who's in power, and you have all these people who've kind of like been, like the show shows, hiding in the darks, hiding their true feelings, and you have someone like him who's validating all of those emotions, and that's what scares me the most, because it's like now they're comfortable, now they're coming out of the shadows,
Yeah,
and
absolutely.
you never, like, you don't know
100%.
what to expect now.
And then
Yeah.
you're even seeing, one of the most terrifying scenes to me was her talking to her therapist, and her
Yeah.
therapist saying, I just got off Twitter because if I can't do anything about it, then why do I even need to know about it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just check out of, what did he say? Check out of the world and into your life, which is
But-
the most dangerous thing society could possibly do, is to
Yeah.
be like, oh, it doesn't affect me.
But it
Right.
does at
So-
the end of the day. Like, if you don't know what's going on, you're just hurting the issue. You're hurting yourself. Because you don't know it doesn't mean it's not happening. It's going to be happening more because you're not speaking out about it. You have no knowledge of what's going on. So you're like, it's just going to blow up more. It's really sad.
Yeah.
But it's like art imitating life, imitating art. And it's just
Yeah.
so connected to right now.
All I was thinking was that Tina Fey parody where she's just eating the cake, where she's like, I
my
just
gosh.
yell it in the cake and I just eat cake. I don't do anything about it. And it's like, okay, there are people who have that mentality. And, we don't see it in this episode, but later on when they're showing us later in the season
Yeah.
or whatever,
Yeah.
when they're even, talking about, it's so easy to ignore until they're coming for you. And so I feel like that's pretty much the whole theme of this season is what it's looking like it's going to be.
Definitely.
And I think another theme that I've seen so far is that America has been so comfortable in how things have gone, and now we have a new person in office who is shaking things up and rattling and kind of like raising our demons that we already knew were there, but we've been
yeah.
ignoring.
I mean, 100%. There have been people who were triggered from the election who
Yes.
have PTSD, who have anxiety disorders and everything that were significantly exacerbated from election results. So
Yeah.
I think it's really smart of the show to kind of represent that in both a literal and metaphorical sense.
Yeah, and talking about not voting.
Yeah.
Yeah,
yeah.
and rubbing in. So we see too that we know that not only did Marilyn not vote at all, so Tom is upset and shaming her for that.
Yeah.
Kai hears that Allie has also voted for Jill Stein instead of for Hillary, which then
Yeah.
split the
Yeah,
vote.
which
right?
a lot of people argue and
lot of
say that's a
people did.
wasted vote.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it didn't really count.
So I feel like that's gonna maybe be, we'll kind of save it for predictions, but I feel
Yeah.
like
Okay,
that's
yeah.
gonna definitely play in because then we see this terrifying grocery store scene
Oh my
gosh.
gosh.
that is just grocery stores are a nightmare anyway, but
Oh my gosh, yes. They do not have the sweet almond milk.
It didn't look too bad because I hate going to grocery stores because it's always crowded.
Instacart.
That's true. There are definitely
I
sometimes
need a-
I'm like, I'll risk the freaking angry clown on a razor scooter with a knife if it just means that there's no one in the 10 items or
Yeah.
less aisle. I need to get home with my Ben and Jerry's.
Like, if they don't have my 2 pounds of ground turkey meat, then I will be that clown going crazy. Like, I need my 2 pounds of turkey. Need my chili.
I would love to see that.
But yeah, the clown costumes alone were really good.
Oh my gosh,
yeah.
terrified. The costume department and the production design department, visually this show just always really
Awesome.
steps it up. And this
Yeah.
season is no exception because every single one of those things was terrifying.
The
Yeah.
mask with like the 3 faces and like
Ooh.
the
Oh my
long
god,
nose.
that's the
Yeah.
scariest.
Because
That
it's
was
looking
the
at you at all
scariest.
angles, even
Yeah.
your unflattering angles. Like, ooh, no.
And it has different expressions, and every single
Yes.
one is equally terrifying. It's
I did not
oh.
like that one.
And then Allie wrecks her car into a pole because one of
Yeah.
them is in her
In the
back
back
seat
seat.
Yeah.
as she's calling Ivy. Which, I'm sorry, but you do not need to sit there and call your wife. They're trying to kill me. What do I do? Leave. Drive away.
But this is
Drive to a police station and wait there.
She
But this
was
is-
in the
yeah.
store like way too long. Like I would have been out of there a long
That's
time
the same
ago.
person who started to see after the clowns were having sex, like, oh, okay, let me just turn around. It's like, no, bye.
If I
Bye.
see clowns banging in the produce section, knocking over melons, I'm like, that is my cue to not come back.
I would have
here.
left when I noticed I was the only one in the store.
Don't disrespect the watermelons. They definitely disrespected them. And knocked them over.
Yeah,
So,
don't disrespect
don't do
that.
So, exactly. You can't be just ruining fruit for no reason.
Right. Somewhere else.
It's
Go
hard
to
to
the
find a good
bread aisle,
watermelon, too.
the bakery over there, but don't do that to the watermelon.
Go to the vegan area.
Yeah, I
Go
love
to the
that though.
tofu.
She was even talking about, when she's explaining to Ivy what happened, and she's like, it's like they knew my every fear. Like
Yeah.
the mask even had holes in them. It's like they were coming specifically for my fears, which that's just terrifying. Just super focused. Unfortunately, Allie is not super focused, and Ivy's starting to feel it a little bit.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, her
she's
fears are
saying,
affecting her relationship.
Marriage is on the rocks.
Yeah.
So-
Which is definitely true. I know some stories that I've seen on social media where some people's relationships, because of this election in general, has divided families. Where they're like, okay, well, I didn't know that you felt this way until this election.
I also
So-
feel like it wasn't like it was pretty intentional metaphor that she
Yeah.
was defending herself with wine.
Oh,
Right?
Like actually
Yeah.
with
Yeah.
physical
Oh my gosh.
wine. Like I'm there, girl. I've been doing the same thing. Like that's been my weapon. It's just
That is genius.
Yeah.
That was beautiful. I'm like gonna shed a tear because of that. Oh my gosh.
like
oh my
that's
gosh.
But you only grab
Same.
one bottle.
She
Grab
got-
two.
and
Yeah,
it
two
was
hands for a
rosé.
reason.
It was rosé.
Oh.
She has good taste.
Yeah.
Right.
Prosecco in one hand, rosé in the other.
Hey,
and
there
then
you go.
literally getting smashed.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, to not really defending and not really doing anything against the demons or the scary thing. So
Yeah.
I was like, look at this. So on
Now,
point with
one
these
part
metaphors.
of after she smashed her car is how she got home so fast.
Yeah, I'm like, just super Uber or
Lyft.
police?
Yeah.
I'm assuming police probably brought her
Yeah.
home because then Allie is talking to the officer and kind of they're saying they're going
Right.
to look into it, but they've already at this point interviewed the clerk,
Yeah. There's nothing on the security cameras.
Yeah.
the one-armed Make America Great Again
Aye.
clerk.
Yeah, so they're giving us this tease of did it really happen,
Yeah.
or is everyone behind it and trying to make her look crazy?
Right.
I mean, there's a cult. Apparently,
yeah,
This
it's
is
a
what the
cult,
season's
so-
called. So.
And her son is seeing the same
Yes.
thing.
Yeah.
So
Which, oh my gosh, let's talk about that too, as
Oh,
having the new
please.
nanny. Which,
Oh.
first of all,
Ooh.
just skimming over, we need a new nanny because
Ooh.
we don't know what happened to ours. And then just
Oh,
very
yeah.
nonchalantly, like, she could have gotten taken, she could have chosen to leave. We have no idea. Oh well, we'll put out an ad for a new one, and it's like, oh my god, this is what our country is
Crazy.
right now.
Oh,
Like,
yes.
that's not even a fictional
Wait.
thing. Like, that's like, come on, guys.
I forget. Did they explain why they needed a new nanny?
Yeah,
Was-
because the housekeeper was
Oh,
gone, was just MIA. They
Yeah.
were saying,
Oh,
she
okay.
was Hispanic, and so they don't know if she was.
Oh, I did not catch that. Oh my
Yeah, because she was
gosh.
saying to her therapist, we haven't seen our housekeeper in weeks.
Oh
Yeah.
my gosh.
So then that's
Well,
how they're saying, well, now if you're gonna go back to work,
they they put that in really nicely.
yeah, and that was a really good kind of subtle thing
Yeah.
that they peppered in, where it's like, okay, this is somebody else's. This is huge. This is somebody else's entire life.
yeah.
You don't know what's happened to them at all. Instead of investigating or doing anything, it's like ad for new nanny.
Yeah.
You're
Oh
like,
my gosh.
okay, again, it's so easy to ignore until they're coming for you. And it's
Yep.
like,
That was such an uncomfortable the was like well done when the transition
When they were mixing.
Yeah.
yes,
with
the voiceover.
Kai and what's her name?
Winter.
And then her interview with the couple, and I was like, oh
And
my
then we actually
gosh,
see how
so-
cold Winter is.
Yes.
Oh,
And I
she
thought I
is
was
That was a
cold.
bad pun.
She has a motive.
Oh
She
yeah.
has a
okay, so
motive.
this is what, when we have Kai doing his pinky promise thing, asking her, and then saying, what fills your heart most with dread, and then that perfect transition to her saying, children.
Yes.
Always
Yeah.
wanted to work
See?
with children. So this
Yeah.
is kind of a weird thing that because they even reference where he's saying, who do you want to murder the most? And she's saying, I don't want to murder anyone. Yeah, you do. You want to murder the salt of the earth, people who put this person into power.
Yeah.
And so then it's almost like, okay, well, what's happening with this cult? Like, we know where his allegiances lie, but he's able to emotionally and mentally manipulate
her.
people. And now she's... Poor little Ozzy.
She's taking over
my
the
gosh.
mind of Ozzy because
Yeah,
she asks
making
the
him watch all
question
these-
of, "Oh, did you ever see a dead body?" And then she takes him to the computer, and they see like these murders and stuff. And not only that, just to jump ahead a little bit, is like they take him to the house and watch it. Like she looks him up. I think that was on purpose.
Oh,
Yeah,
yeah,
absolutely.
It's like, here, look at
I
this.
mean, her
It
even
was
saying to her, like,
all
this is
set
a
up.
vaccination for your brain.
Yes!
It hurts now, but it makes you better. Don't you want to
Yeah.
be strong? Like,
She's doing to him what Kai is doing to her. Because
Exactly.
in
Yeah.
the beginning of the episode, when I don't remember who she was on the phone with, and they said something about, you can't afford to hurt yourself again. So he knows that she's weak, and he's manipulating her
Yeah.
and taking advantage of that. And so she's doing that to Oz because he's a child, so she
Yeah.
knows that she can do that to
Yeah.
him.
Yeah, and I
so
think
it's a cycle.
Yeah, and I think what I'm getting from that whole interaction between them is that Oz is obviously he's an innocent youth, and
Yeah.
like youth, child, and adolescent isn't like brought up to hate unless they're taught to.
Yes.
and it's a cycle, and we're seeing that with Kai to Winter and Winter to Oz. So like it's so
almost like like I could see Oz serial
Yeah.
killing out later.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm
Like,
gonna
I'm
use.
a
There's
serial killer.
a
He's not on a-
prediction coming up with that.
he's not on a good track, and plus he's.
No.
But the comic books that he's reading, you already tell there's a little something off. Like at
Which
that
he's
age.
bringing in.
Who
but
bought
it's,
them?
I think what it is it's because he was told you can't have this. And like
Yeah.
most children, if you're told specifically, this
You
is the one
can't.
thing you can't have that you
They
could actually get
want it.
access to,
Right,
Yeah.
right.
then they're going to. I mean, it's a comic book. It's not like it's liquor or something that he can't get his
So
hands
he has
on.
a fascination with clowns, so he kind of likes them, I guess, because he didn't look that afraid when he saw him out the window.
And
when we
he's-
hear Send in the Clowns playing over just the music, Send in the Clowns with the old creepy ice cream truck.
Yeah.
And did you see his artwork?
Yes.
Mm.
Of Twisty the
Yeah,
Clown
of killing a
stabbing
person.
someone.
And Winter just like peeped that, and I was like, oh man, this kid, this poor
Yeah.
kid.
And that's why, I mean, nannies are good. Everyone is busy and working, stuff like that. But you need to keep an eye on your own
Yes.
child and not leave the nanny to be raising your child. So hopefully they're going to, I mean, now that they noticed that he has a comic book, but I hope that they are going to keep a good eye on him and not be so distracted with Allie's issues that they forget about
Yes.
Oz.
Yeah.
Oh, I see all
I think
that
that's-
happening.
Oh,
Yeah, that's the
100%.
route that's gonna happen.
Because
That's
that's like
gonna
one of the big
happen.
fears is that your family's going to fall apart. That this is
Yeah.
going to be, become such a personal thing that then everything disintegrates and your whole life becomes nothing.
Yeah.
So, and because American Horror Story very rarely ends happily, I feel like we're in for some real treats along the
yeah.
way. And none of them are ice cream treats. They're
Yeah.
just evil treats from an ice cream truck.
Right.
Yeah.
I'm still not over Missy Day's death. Sorry, y'all. Not, one fictional character death I'll never get over. I know that's spoilers, but it's been out for years. Misty
Right.
Day, Queen. She was my supreme.
That was awesome. Yeah, that one was rough just because of how that one went down.
Yeah.
But
So now, can we talk about this one scene with Kai peeing in a condom?
yeah,
throwing it.
throwing it at a whole group of Hispanic
Hispanics.
people
Yes.
while singing La
Using language I
Cucaracha.
was not expecting.
Which
Yeah.
is a whole, he's got the camera going, so
Yep.
he's
Yes.
planned this, orchestrated this whole attack.
Mm-hmm.
And it's really just feeding into, too, about people manipulating information. And I think that's a straight
Just edit-
allegory to, like, Fox News.
It's like,
where
look at
it's
that
Creating their
giant.
own story. That's
Yeah.
what
Yeah.
they're doing.
just recreating the narrative instead of the true events.
Right.
Man, that was right. And then, same thing happening with the murder. When Colton
Oh my
Haynes is the
gosh.
detective saying this looks like a murder-suicide.
Suicide.
Yeah.
But in actuality, we know what happened to Tom and Marilyn because literally through poor Ozzy's eyes, because
We
he's
see
seeing
it.
it as Winter,
Denies it and says
Yeah.
it's all imaginary. It never happened
and it's
like
all in his
that.
head. Which I just have to say, okay, if you saw them draw a smiley face in blood, run up to the detective and say, go check the house. There's a smiley face in blood. How would I know that? Because that crazy bitch held me up to the window and made me look at it. So, what up, moms? Listen, there are clowns.
Yeah.
Don't wait to the point that we all get slashed, because I saw what happened to Tom and it did not look fun.
Oz needs to put Winter on blast. I'm just saying.
He does.
He needs to ice
She
her
is
out.
no good.
Ice out that winner.
I thought I was here for her, but seeing how she's acting, not a
In
fan.
the and in the previews, why is she still here? Like, why?
Fire her.
Oh my god.
Because they don't know. It's all, again, misinformation.
No.
And then we get the big ending of Allie waking up after the big Steadicam shot, going through the house to the thumping. And then the clown is in the bed. Literally, it's in your house with you now.
Oh, yes.
Oh. What do you guys would say for you is the standout moment of this episode? Was there any one moment that you were like, oh, this is it. This is what's going to set it off for the rest of the season. I'm feeling it.
Oh, yeah. Definitely the relationship between Winter and Oz and how she's messing with his mind. And also Kai and how he's just setting everything up to fall in place for later on in the season.
Yeah. I would definitely say just all of Kai's antics this whole episode. I'm just like, oh my god, this guy is about to flip everything upside down. So I'm excited to see like what he's gonna do, but at the same time it pisses me off because it's like, no, don't do that.
Stand out was seeing Colton Haynes. Yeah.
Love
Just like, I thought it was so brutal and disgusting when we saw Marilyn and Tom getting murdered.
Yeah.
And like, I kind of took it as when Marilyn was getting murdered because she didn't vote. That was like a huge metaphor, you know? Because if you didn't vote, you don't die, but it's like you pay for it, I guess.
Yeah.
in
That
a sense.
scene also felt very like Your Next Strangers-esque.
Yeah.
So it kind of felt like these are
that's
like kind of
true.
more references to more modern horror.
Absolutely.
Whereas Roanoke we saw a lot of allegories and references to like kind of classic horror movies like Texas Chainsaw Massacre and Halloween. I think this season is going to be kind of more tribute to modern horror, like
Yeah.
Purge and Strangers.
Yeah, Sanders brought up that like there's not going to be any like paranormal.
No, there's not gonna. Yeah, that's the
Yeah,
rumor.
that
There's not
we
gonna be any
see.
paranormal stuff,
Yeah.
but there
So
will be like
far.
mind trippy things. But nothing's gonna fly across the room on its own, from what they're saying. So we don't have to worry about that.
Except for Twisty
Yeah.
that never
Oh,
dies.
Twisty.
There's that cockroach in AHS that just keeps coming back.
Yes, ugh, but it's a clown cockroach, the worst.
Yeah.
Ugh.
And he talked a little bit.
He did,
did.
just to
He
say
talked a
wrong
little-
number, which
Yeah.
was keep the mask on. Twisty.
Yes.
We're
keep
good.
that- Yeah.
So, why don't we roll into a little bit of predictions?
Predictions.
Let's go.
And now, your AfterBuzz TV predictions.
So, I feel like probably all of this is orchestrated and that Kai is using Winter to manipulate these people because he knows that technically Allie is one of the people who is responsible for Hillary not being elected. Same thing with Marilyn, which is, and Tom not listening to him is, I think he's behind all the clowns.
Okay.
I don't know though. What do you guys think?
Well, I think this is a stretch, but I'm still not sure of is Twisty real in real time, or is Ozzy gonna grow up to be Twisty?
Oh, snap.
Because he's so fast. Because all we know is that he knows him as a character in a comic book. So now he likes clowns. Is he gonna be formed? Is it gonna form his mind by Winter, and he's gonna become Twisty? Is it that kind of thing that's gonna come up later? It just snapped in my head like that. I'm like, it might happen.
I love that.
Oh my god.
Or at least like Twisty 2.0 if like,
Yeah,
the timeline doesn't
definitely.
necessarily match
There's
up.
gonna be
I
a
could
connection
definitely,
with him, and he's gonna do something. He's gonna grow up to be something crazy.
Yeah, I could definitely see him being a serial killer.
That reminds me of Dylan McDermott's character in season 2. Do you remember when he like would try to kill Alana Winter's mom?
Yeah.
Oh no! Don't kill your mom.
Yeah.
I don't, what do you think?
I don't know. Like, I'm just still trying to process everything that just happened.
I agree. I'm there with you.
I kind of don't really have a prediction. I don't know.
Just awesomeness in general, most
Yeah.
likely. Do you think that this season is going to be one that like stays pretty solid throughout, or do you think that it may not have enough substance to keep it going for a whole season.
I think because of what we're dealing with in real life, and our real life is kind of like an American Horror Story, I think they'll have enough to pull from.
I like that.
Yeah.
I agree.
Well, Kai's definitely going to get into some powers in some form because he killed Tom, who was already like an authority figure. So, and he's going to set up to make him look like he's going to victimize himself because of the video when he gets jumped by all the Hispanic men.
And we see the, like, coming up on, like, him saying, vote for Kai Anderson, which after his whole, you know, I'm just trying to get everybody scared because people love fear.
Yeah.
And fear will give us power.
Fear is valuable.
It's a currency.
Yes, that's exactly what he said.
What are people saying in the chat?
Trypophobia is like, you know, like the holes, like that. Oh my God, yes. The more scared Allie gets, the more they will infect everyone's mind. The show isn't a stranger to paranormal on that level, so I wouldn't put it past them. So I don't know.
I feel like it's possible we may see some paranormal stuff.
I think you
later
need
on.
it. You definitely.
I think maybe.
I want some. I live for the paranormal, but like,
I just hope that it's not one of those like unresolved storylines that we sometimes get in the show.
Right,
like I'm still waiting for all of the alien stuff to be cleared up
gosh.
from like I'm like okay, but like what happened with Evan Peters and the aliens? Like I need some. I still don't know. I still don't know.
It's been years and like we're still. I can't go to bed because of that.
I'm like, come on. But in the meantime, where can we keep up with you guys and keep this discussion going and get everybody else's feedback?
Well, you can follow me on Twitter, Instagram, and YouTube at Just Sans World. I'm sure I'm going to be tweeting about it a little bit later.
Yes, and I am on Instagram and Facebook at Ashley Reed Allen.
Yes, guys, follow me on all social media platforms at Ollie Dreamer and find me on Marvel Movie News on the Popcorn Talk Network on Tuesdays.
Nice. And I'm Alana Jordan. You guys can find me on Twitter at Alana Jordan and on Instagram at That Alana Jordan Girl. Kelly and I will both be gone next week, but these guys will be here. Hold it down.
There.
And you can always tweet at us. Let us know all your thoughts at AfterBuzz TV. We'll see you guys next week.
See you next
Bye,
week.
guys.
From executive producers Maria Menounos, Kevin Undergaro, Phil Svitek, and the entire AfterBuzz TV staff, we would like to thank you for listening to the AfterBuzz TV network. To watch or listen to other after shows and post comments or questions, be sure to visit AfterBuzzTV.com. I'm Sir Richard Wentworth, and this has been a presentation of AfterBuzz TV.
Buzz you later.
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.